Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sean Moss with Down Payment Resource. We've also got with us in the background Melinda Harris, our Director of Marketing, Veronica Candewall, our Director of HFA Relations, and Fern White, who oversees our customer and support and outreach. They will be in the background answering questions here as we go. So keep this interactive. If you've got questions, comments, reactions to the content, if you've got a case study or a success story that you want to share, then we're all about that. We'd love to hear from you. And Mel would love to do a follow-up interview. If you want to share a story about working with a client with down payment assistance, we'd love to do that. My name is Sean Moss again, and we are going to talk today about a few things. The state of down payment assistance, what's going on with down payment assistance programs, generally speaking, across the country. We're going to talk a little bit about first-time homebuyer market opportunities and educating buyers about down payments. But most of what we're going to talk about today is enhancing your marketing and expanding your marketing reach, specifically using Down Payment Connect, which many of you already have through your MLS. We'll show you how you might already have Down Payment Connect. And if you don't, we'll show you how to get Down Payment Connect. And we're gonna show you how to enhance and expand your reach, specifically by looking at what your peers are doing with Down Payment Connect and with the topic of down payment assistance around the country. So with that, a little bit about us at Down Payment Resource. We are a national database and a matching engine of all of the home ownership programs around the country for down payment assistance, closing cost help, affordable first mortgages, tax credits, and more. We integrate this data, these DPA programs and information about them into MLS systems, property listing data. We have tools for lenders, and essentially, in fact, we have tools for agents and loan officers specifically, but essentially, we are here to help you connect home buyers to the down payment help they need. And in addition to that, specifically today, we are here to help you market and promote solutions for the down payment obstacle, which we know is one of, if not the biggest obstacles to home ownership for a lot of people. We are here to promote the solutions that are already out there and to help you leverage those solutions in your conversations, your content, your dialogue with prospective home buyers and even existing clients. Now, just a quick overview of the programs that we're talking about. So we're going to talk about marketing and reaching first-time home buyers and letting them know that solutions are out there. But I want to be clear about what these programs look like. So there are over 2,000 programs, about 2,200 programs across the country, everywhere. We'll talk about geography here in a minute. But 73% of them are down payment or closing cost assistance. 11% of those programs are something other than your sort of normal homebuyer assistance programs. 10% are affordable first mortgage loans with increased LTVs, lower mortgage insurance, lower interest rates, things like that typically come from state housing finance agencies. There are still some mortgage credit certificates out there. For a number of reasons recently, there have been fewer of those available, but we hope that will change in the future. But by and large, almost 3/4 of all the programs out there for home buyers that can help them with down payment or closing costs are some form of DPA. Now, of those, there are many different kinds, many different repayment structures, if you will. Some of those are grants. That's a true gift at closing, no second lien. That's it. It's a gift at closing. There are some down payment assistance programs that are repayable. So they have a monthly payment. You've got your mortgage payment, you've got your down payment assistance, and that comes with a monthly payment, maybe even interest bearing. But 64% of all of the down payment assistance programs across the country include deferred payments, meaning you do not have a monthly payment on the down payment assistance that you get from one of these providers. 43% of those DPA programs are forgivable in part or in full. That means that while it's not a grant up front, over time or at some period in the future, some or all of that down payment assistance becomes forgivable. So that's almost half of all DPAs. 38% of all of these down payment assistance or DPA programs are both deferred and forgivable. Now, deferred payments may last a few years. It may last 10, 15 years. Then it's due as a balloon payment. It may last the life of the first mortgage. So a lot of DPAs, you don't actually repay them until you sell or refinance your home at some point in the future, and then you'll pay back the down payment assistance that you got up front. So anyway, wanted to set the stage there a little bit on the programs. We have an entirely separate webinar called DPA 101, where we basically go through all of the different kinds of homebuyer programs. We break down the most common ones. We look at the differences and the commonalities among various types of homebuyer assistance. So we encourage you to join that webinar, and we can send out registration links for the next one when we send you the follow-up from this webinar. But I do want to also talk about geography, which I mentioned a moment ago. These programs are literally everywhere. This graphic here shows you where the states are that have the most programs, just the city and state and local programs. But there is literally no market in the country that doesn't have some kind of down payment assistance help, in particular, because at the very least, every state has at least one state housing finance agency, and their programs are available statewide. So there is no metro or suburban or exurban or rural market that doesn't have at least some down payment assistance or some homebuyer assistance available. And then, of course, the bigger the market, the more nonprofits, the more cities, the more counties, the more municipalities have their own programs, get federal funding or funding from elsewhere. So we just want to make sure everybody knows, no matter where you are, there is literally no market in the country that doesn't have some kind of down payment assistance. East Coast, West Coast, high cost, low cost, so on and so forth. Now, what's going on with down payment assistance programs in general? There have been a lot of questions, a lot of misinformation, a lot of misperceptions over the last year about the status or the state of down payment assistance. So we just want to clarify a couple things. Every state housing finance agency, every local housing finance agency stayed open last year, this year, remains open now. State housing finance agencies last year had record years. Many of them had record years. If you're a loan officer, that's purchase business, right? I mean, some HFAs do a little bit of refi stuff, but we're talking about purchase business to the tune of tens of billions done just by state housing finance agencies last year. And those numbers look good for 2021 as well. So a lot of these HFAs are doing similar volume this year, year to date. We continue to see new state and local programs. And I want to distinguish between the two. The state program is typically your state housing finance agency, right? But locally, you've got local housing finance agencies, cities, counties, nonprofits, land trusts, community development financial institutions, or CDFIs. You've got federal home loan bank funds that are out there through banks. There are all kinds of other programs available locally in many markets. And we continue to see new programs launched to markets and added to our down payment resource platform. So not only are the programs that were out there still out there, subject to some of them seasonal funding, but we're still seeing new programs come about. We're seeing cities adopt new affordability initiatives. We're seeing municipalities and nonprofits, secure funding and put new programs out to the market. So this stuff is still happening. Over 81% of all programs nationwide are currently funded and active. And one of the I guess, pivots, if you will, that a lot of DPA providers had to make last year was to migrate to online homebuyer education courses. Many, especially local down payment providers, nonprofits and cities often had in-person classes, but in order to sustain the program or ensure continuity of the program, they had to adopt online homebuyer education courses and platforms. So that has enabled a lot of program providers to continue offering their program because they can do the homebuyer ed online. So all of that is to say, as we lead into, how can we reach more potential buyers? How can we educate them about down payment solutions? All of this is to reinforce or confirm for you that down payment assistance programs are still available. They are absolutely not going away. And case in point, there's a lot of attention in DC on affordable housing, affordable lending initiatives, and particularly on down payment assistance. So we're headed toward more focus, more attention on down payment assistance rather than less. Now, that said, we have a lot of renters out there that want to save for a home. They don't know if they qualify for a mortgage. They're not connecting with loan officers. They're not reaching out to realtors. Maybe they're looking at properties online and then a lease comes up for renewal. We want to hit them with messages in those critical moments that confirm for them that there is a path to homeownership and that there are solutions for the down payment obstacle, and that we can educate them if we can, start up some dialogue with them, and we can illuminate that path to homeownership. So in order to do that, obviously any first-time home buyer is going to need help navigating the home buying process. They need to know to get pre-approved for a loan and then go actually do it. In doing so, they need to talk about their mortgage options, compare options, review down payment and closing costs. What are their requirements there? They need to know that if they're going to use a down payment assistance program to expedite home ownership, they will also likely have to do a homebuyer education course. We are firm believers and supporters of homebuyer education coursework that creates better prepared clients during the transaction. Excuse me, but it also creates better prepared and more successful homeowners. And there's a lot of data out there to support that long-term home ownership success is improved or reinforced with completion of a homebuyer education course. And then, of course, we are still in a very competitive, tight inventory, limited inventory market with a significant lack of affordable homes in many markets. Appreciation, I'm not an economist. I'm not here to say what's going to happen. We're hearing rumblings only very, very recently that appreciation is slowing down and maybe the bidding wars are kind of cooling off. But again, we're still in a tight inventory market, right? Even if we're cooling off a little bit. So keeping all that in mind, let's also look at what home buyers or potential home buyers know or don't know. We did a survey with the Urban Institute a couple years ago. As part of that, they asked millennial renters, so let's call them potential home buyers, a series of questions about their sort of path to home ownership or beliefs about home ownership. So I'll go through this relatively quickly because we want to get into the marketing piece of this. But when asked what their biggest obstacle to home ownership was, these millennial renters, 68% of them said the down payment. That doesn't probably surprise anybody here. Biggest obstacle to home ownership is often going to be down payment, especially for first-time home buyers, and especially the younger they are. 65% of those millennial renters thought that they needed a down payment of 15% or 20% or more. So there are some serious misperceptions out there about how much you actually need for a down payment. One would think you could just go Google, buy a home, how much do I need as a down payment? And you'd get your answer, right? 3%, 3.5% FHA, 5% conventional, USDA VA, zero down if eligible. Nonetheless, there are plenty of millennial renters, younger potential home buyers, clients for all of us that think they need 20% down, which, as we know, is absurd. That's not a requirement, but perception is reality. So we gotta meet the perception with the reality. And the reality is there are solutions out there for down payment help, but you don't have to get to the magic 20%. That's just to avoid MI, right? And then lastly, more than 3/4 of those millennial renters, when asked, are you familiar with low down payment programs, had little or no familiarity with them. That doesn't even mean down payment assistance. That question was asking, are you familiar with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac mortgages? Are you familiar with FHA mortgages, 3.5% down? If you're a veteran, are you familiar with the VA mortgage options that you might be able to leverage? And so we put all this together and it paints a pretty staggering picture of misinformation that potential home buyers might otherwise, or if they knew otherwise, they might react to our marketing, right? They might listen to our message. It might resonate with them. They might jump on calling you back or responding to the listings you're sending or hitting you up on social media and saying, hey, I'd like to explore home ownership, except that they think that these things are obstacles for them, or they misperceive the requirements for home ownership, misunderstand the requirements for home ownership. So what can we do? Be a trusted advisor, obviously provide information that's going to help them prepare for the future. What we know is that buyers want to work with people and with companies or brands that are going to serve and educate them and keep them informed. They want to know all of their options. And quite frankly, given what we've just looked at, they have to know all of their options, because otherwise they believe a completely different story and they believe in a completely different, inaccessible path to home ownership. And then, of course, we know they're going to tell their peers. So referral business, right? Now, how can we connect buyers to down payment assistance programs? How can we connect them to these solutions for the down payment obstacle? First, all of the programs in your market are integrated into your MLS if you are a member of one of these MLS partners of ours. We have more coming, but these are our current MLS partners. This means if you're a member of one of these MLSs, you will see something like a dollar sign, little down payment button that tells you what's available on eligible listings. You can also, what we're going to focus on today, get Down Payment Connect for free if you're a member of one of those MLSs. It's already available to you. There is no upsell or freemium. It's part of our partnership with your MLS. Again, if you are a member of one of these MLSs. I'll leave these on the screen here for a moment. And this is where we sort of segue into Down Payment Connect. So I'll show you how to get the tool. If you're a member of one of these MLSs, I can't put a screenshot up here of every single MLS dashboard, but generally speaking, you're looking for your MLS homepage or dashboard, or when you log into the MLS platform, your tools dashboard, core tools, third-party tools, MLS partners, whatever that menu is called in your MLS, look for the down payment resource link. Here's two different examples. And then that will take you to your down payment resource homepage, where you will find your Down Payment Connect URL. It is unique to you. This is a lead gen tool, a lead generation tool. It is unique to you. It is exclusive to you. So anything you do with this tool is going to help consumers find down payment assistance programs, figure out what's out there, connect with you. So that's the lead, right? And only you to continue that discussion and continue their path to home ownership. This comes with marketing resources. I'll show you some of that live here in a few minutes. But we have graphics libraries, social media images. We have customizable flyers in both English and Spanish. We've got video tutorials about how to optimize Down Payment Connect for social media, about how to put it in your email signature, and other creative uses, which is primarily what we're about to walk into here, are creative uses of Down Payment Connect from amongst your peers all over the country, engaging buyers, educating buyers, and pulling them into their pipeline and creating buyers out of them. If you are a member of the California Association of Realtors, you can go to downpayment.car.org and learn more about Down Payment Connect through CAR, or you and your clients can go to finddownpayment.car.org and do a search for programs in California and get even more information about each program. Now, if you are not a member of any of those MLS partners, or if you are a loan officer, we have a subscription version of Down Payment Connect. You can go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC and you can subscribe to Down Payment Connect. There's a version for agents. There's a version for loan officers. It shows you the differences. Loan officers, you control which programs show up for consumers because we know that you are bound to market only those programs that you have access to through your company. Now, what do you get with Down Payment Connect? Whether it's free or you're subscribing, you get a personalized landing page where a consumer can come search for homebuyer assistance programs anywhere in your market. You get unlimited, there's no limit on the traffic or the leads you can generate from your page. But let me be clear, you're not buying leads. And we're not here to sell you Down Payment Connect necessarily. We're here to show you how others are using the tool, whether they have it through their MLS or they've subscribed to it, and they've supplemented their marketing to reach people with a new message in a creative new way. But you're not buying leads from us. You're generating leads out of the tool as consumers search for homebuyer programs and figure out what's out there for them and reach out to you to take the next steps, essentially saying, hey, you told me there's down payment help. I found some. I'd like to continue this dialogue. We also give you all kinds of marketing tools and support, social media training, and then, of course, our ongoing webinars like this one today. Loan officers, if you subscribe to the loan officer version, you get a detailed directory of all programs in the states for which you subscribe to Down Payment Connect, and you can customize which of those programs display to borrowers who are doing those searches on your personalized landing page. Now, everybody gets this personalized landing page. You see a dashboard here that shows you some of the tools you get with your Down Payment Connect paid subscription. On the free version, You get your landing page that's kind of in the bottom right there. And the consumer just comes there, enters a location and anything else they want to about their household. They find out how many programs are out there, but we're not going to give them all the details of all these programs. We're going to give them you. We want them to connect to you. So that's the lead gen nature of Down Payment Connect. I'll show you the consumer experience here in a couple of minutes, but let's just look at some screenshots. I want to walk you through some ideas. So we're getting into the marketing piece here. What are realtors and loan officers doing around the country with Down Payment Connect and sort of more broadly with the topic of down payment assistance to inform and educate and ultimately attract and do business with renters who are now becoming buyers. So these are examples from all over the country. Some are web-based, some are social media. There's some video stuff in here. There's email signatures. So we're going to look at a few of these, just sort of static, and then we'll talk through them. But then I'll show you some of these live, because in some of these examples, there's actually more to it than what we can capture in a screenshot. There's education down a page. There's a Down Payment Connect form embedded, or there's something interactive that we want to show you. But let's just walk through some of these. So one simple thing you can do is just add a down payment assistance, blurb on your website. Let people know that this is out there. Brian here added a couple of sentences on his homepage. This is the homepage of his website right below his bio. He's added just a few sentences at the bottom there. Down payment help is out there. This is a great program. Click the button and check your eligibility. And then there's a graphic on the left from our graphics package. That's also a link to his Down Payment Connect page. Super simple, right? Couple of sentences, let them know it's out there. Let them start the search. They connect with you and they pursue homeownership with you. Susan here, she's in Atlanta. She has embedded the Down Payment Connect search form into a page on her website. So the consumer comes here, or she directs them here from an ad campaign or social media content. And the consumer comes here, they fill out their search, they find out that there's help out there, they fill out the contact form, they connect with Susan, and again, only to Susan. So the lead is exclusive to you. It's your lead. This isn't a lead carousel program. This information is not shared with other realtors or other parties or other DPA providers. There's no lead pool here that's being bought from. This is your marketing tool. The leads are yours. So Susan has embedded that experience into her website. The buyer does the search. They've never even left her site. They continue on, do their property search, check her finance partners, go to the About Me page, whatever they want to do from her site, right? Here's another example. You can see in the navigation menu of this website, Angela has added down payment assistance as one of the navigation menu items. So you can look for homes, go to the buyer content, seller content, set an appointment, look at a couple other things, and you can look for down payment assistance. And then she did the same thing as the previous example. Rather than open up another browser tab, she's just embedded the Down Payment Connect search form into that page. So the buyer comes to Angela's website, they see down payment assistance in the site navigation, they go to that tab, and here they are doing their down payment search. Email signatures. This is an example of a loan officer. This is in California. He has added a graphic at the bottom of his email signature. Down payment money is available. See if you are eligible. So when he sends an email, any recipient of any email of his is going to see that down payment help is available, that Sal can offer those down payment programs. Now, in this case, this is a loan officer, so he can also pre-qualify them, right? And if that email gets forwarded on, maybe somebody he emailed knows a potential first-time home buyer, somebody that's expressed interest or talked about renewing a lease or looking for an apartment recently. They might forward that on to somebody else who's going to find out that, hey, Sal knows about these down payment assistance programs. Let me do a search and see what I come up with. Find my programs, connect to Sal, in that case, get pre-qualified, and again, move into home ownership. Video. Let's talk about video for a moment. This is a team in Richmond, Virginia. Now, they produced this video themselves. It's on a page that I'm going to show you live here in a moment, because there's actually a ton of educational content here about down payment assistance programs, but they started this page so that they could educate first-time home buyers. They could ramp up their first-time home buyer business and grow their team with agents that are learning the industry, working with first-time home buyers and DPAs. And they created a great video that starts things off. While the video is playing, you can go down the site, you can learn more about various metrics and criteria that impact your eligibility for down payment assistance. So that's one that I'm going to show you live here in a couple of minutes so you can get the full context of the page that they built. Checklists. What are you offering to your brand new clients? What is your intake process? What content does or instructions does the new buyer get from you when they first start working with you? What does that first consultation sound like? What are the takeaways for the buyer? So here's an example of what Raul, who's a broker in Austin, does with Ready Front Real Estate. He's created a checklist, 3 things that you do when we start working together. The first one is going to get you with a loan officer, and we're going to find out what you can afford. That's paramount. In doing so, we're going to learn about what kinds of down payment solutions are out there, what your cash to close situation looks like, and we're going to make sure that that is thoroughly investigated upfront, that we have the right plan in place upfront so issues do not arise later. One common misperception is that down payment assistance programs prolong a transaction. We have found that not to be true. Couple of things that prevent that. A loan officer who knows these programs closes on time, and they'll tell you that, and then they'll do it because they know how to work with these programs. But also, you got to look at cash to close up front. One reason that a DPA gets blamed for delaying a transaction is actually often because cash to close was not fully reviewed up front when, let's say, a pre-qual letter was issued, and then bank statements come in later and, oh, wait a minute, we're not quite where we thought we were. Let's go use a DPA. That delay is not the fault of the down payment assistance program. That delay is a byproduct of not having reviewed cash to close or documented cash to close up front and having to deal with what became a problem down the road, right? So anyway, what are you offering buyers up front? What kind of takeaways do they get? Here's a great way to tell them up front, hey, obviously you got to get pre-approved. You got to look at your mortgage situation, but let's also thoroughly and completely review and put a plan in place for your cash to close scenario. How is that going to be resolved? And a down payment assistance option might be right there in front of everybody, readily available, funded, waiting for buyers. And we just need to let everybody know that that's on the table. Now, social media. Couple things here. This is Raul, Austin, Texas. When he first started out in business, came out of the military, worked in IT for a while, and then started his brokerage. One of the things that he did was put together a top 10 questions. What were the top 10 questions he was being asked by new clients, especially first-time home buyers? And one of them was, what is the best approach to look for down payment and closing cost help? So he puts out this campaign, sort of a drip campaign when new clients come on board, and answers all of these common questions that he feels he's likely to get anyways. So he just drips out the question and the answer. And in the process of doing so, he's putting content out there that lets these new buyers know that, first of all, down payment and closing cost help is out there. And then here's a path to finding it. And of course, that's where Down Payment Connect steps in and gives them that path. Couple things about this example. So this is a team in the Twin Cities up in Minnesota. Want to point out the branding across the top of the page. So they're with Remax. They've got their team, the Barker Hedges Group. But look who else they brand this with, Results Mortgage. Now they call themselves the Minnesota First Time Homebuyer Team. And the 2 founders of this team have literally built this team and this business on first-time homebuyers and a lot of down payment assistance business. And over the years, they've grown to dozens of agents, and they all started out working with first-time homebuyers, down payment assistance programs, and their lending partners that they had to rely on in order to foster these transactions to closing, right? So it's important, first of all, that we acknowledge that a strong, reliable partnership with a loan officer is critical to getting these done. And a loan officer in particular that knows these programs well, wants that business from you, and executes on closing on time, preventing delays. And then a couple other things. So they're also posting here about a case study. If you look kind of toward the bottom, that post, the last one there is about a buyer named Jasmine. So they got permission from the buyer. There's actually a picture too, but they got permission to use her name and her picture. and tell her story. And that's the part we like about this example the most. Jasmine got $12,000 in down payment assistance to buy her very first home. And this team, the Barker Hedges team and their mortgage partners, are telling that story to their social media audience and elsewhere, right? Do you have a blog? Tell that story on your blog. But absolutely, if you've got a story like that, and even if you have to anonymize it, but maybe better yet, if you can get the permission from a recent client, show them a picture of your client that you just closed, who got down payment assistance. Maybe they got the keys in their hand in front of their house, that kind of photo, but a real story about a client that you helped. That resonates with renters who are thinking, oh, I got to renew a lease and my rent's going to go up. And I wish I could just buy a home. That kind of message, telling them that their peers are getting down payment assistance and getting into a home and becoming homeowners and starting that wealth building and long-term financial benefit, that story is going to resonate with potential home buyers. So tell that story, whatever platform you have. If you've got a story like that, tell that story. And I'll ask again, if you've got a story like that, put it in the chat. We'd love to share that right now. I mean, 2 or 3 sentences. Hey, I just closed, had a client, first time home buyer, 23 years old, single mom or couple, just had a baby, whatever the case is, right? We would love to hear that story, and Mel would love to follow up and, publicize that story and see how we could get creative. Let other people know what you've been up to and what successes you've met with and some of the obstacles and challenges maybe that you had to overcome. So, all right, let's move on here. Video. I want to point out a couple things here too. This is actually that same Minnesota team, the Barker Hedges team. Look at the timestamps on these videos. They're all about a minute, right? They're all within a few seconds of 1 minute. Look at the locations. The main one is in the kitchen. There's one in a hallway. There's one in the corner of a room. And then look at the topics. They're just how-tos, what ifs, right? They're just simple questions with simple 1 minute answers. And the whole point here was to get your personality out there, to address what might seem like a cumbersome, complicated question, but to do it quickly with a short, simple answer. We don't want to confuse potential home buyers. We don't want to confuse renters. We don't want the home buying process to sound like a massive burden. Yes, there are some challenges. We all know that, but we don't want it to sound like a massive burden that would scare someone away, right? They're already trying to figure out, what am I going to do about down payment? What am I going to do about my lease? I have to actually move, physically move. I got to deal with the mortgage stuff, appraisal. As they learn, it all can become overwhelming, but we all know that's what we're here for. So in terms of this example, they've leveraged video to create 1 minute, quick hitting question and answer sessions, get their personality out there. These are not Hollywood productions. They just do a good job of answering simple questions and compelling people to talk to them. So that's what we like about that example. I'll show you this one live too, because there's more to this page, but under advice for buyers, this team in Seattle has added a good bit of content about down payment assistance programs. And then below it, they've embedded the Down Payment Connect search. So it's sort of a blend of some of the things we've already seen, but they did a good job here of writing out some educational content. And then on that same page, that educational content leads to the actual Down Payment Connect search form where the buyer can go search for down payment programs. Facebook ads. Maryland in Indianapolis uses Down Payment Connect and the topic of down payment assistance to run ads on Facebook. Look at the copy, 2 sentences. Many first-time homebuyers qualify for down payment money. See if you qualify and let's shop for your home. It's that simple. That call to action works so well for her. And we think in part because it's simple. Now, yes, it's great to have a long form educational web page, and there's a place for that. But on social media, that's not the place for it, right? This is how simple it can be. And you're looking at examples here. Well, let's rephrase that. The examples you are looking at here have bubbled up in our analytics because they get the best click to lead rates out of the Down Payment Connect tool. They get the most traffic to the Down Payment Connect tool. So these are the ones that are most successful. Marilyn's testimonial here. She gets good leads. They respond. They're interested. She's figured out how to maximize her Down Payment Connect landing page. She actually does something unique that I'll show you in a couple of minutes. Instagram. Now, I won't get into too much more here before we look live, but on Instagram, use hashtags, talk about the down payment assistance topic. You can use tools like Linktree to put links in your bio, like a link to Down Payment Connect, right? So there's a lot you can do on social media. We've got graphics packages that can help. But talk about wherever your audience is, talk about solutions to the down payment obstacle. The thing about down payment assistance is that buyers don't know to ask for it because they don't know it exists. So while maybe nobody's asking you those questions, it is highly likely that that's because they don't know to ask, right? So we got to get that message out there and make sure that they understand that these programs exist. Now, I want to look at some of those live. I told you we were going to take a look at some of these examples live. First thing I want to do is show you downpaymentresource.com/DPC. That is the Down Payment Connect product page that you can go to learn more. There's some video here that explains Down Payment Connect. You essentially get a personalized landing page where consumers can come search for programs. And I'll kind of hover over this for a moment. Consumers can come search for programs. You can put that landing page anywhere you want. I'm going to show you how it works here now live in just a moment. But there's an agent version and there's a loan officer version. This page shows you what you get. Here are the prices. So we're all about candid transparency here. $24 a month for the realtor, discount for upfront. $39 a month for the loan officer. You get a good bit more. $390 if you pay upfront for a year. There's more video here to show you how it works. So you can subscribe here. Now that is per state. Most of you are just licensed and doing business in one state. So for 2 states, $48 a month, for example. But anyway, you can go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC and take a look at all that. Now, we give you marketing resources. One of the many benefits of Down Payment Connect, that includes a graphics library, unique social media images formatted for various social platforms, customizable flyers in English and Spanish, and then I'll show you some more in a moment. But the graphics libraries, you've seen some of these, just some basic down payment graphics here. There's an example of using one in an email signature. We saw another example a couple minutes ago. And pardon the scrolling here, but I want to show you some of this. Facebook graphics, Facebook ad graphics. These are all formatted for different social media platforms, right? So really cool stuff for use on Instagram or anywhere. And you've actually already seen a couple of these, right? We saw the top left, we saw the one with the dog. So our Down Payment Connect users, your peers, are taking these graphics and using them creatively in social media and elsewhere. And then flyers. We've got a ton of flyer options that you can download. Pick the image that you like, and then you can add your contact information, your Down Payment Connect link, or maybe you get a tiny URL for it or something you want to add that. But we have customizable flyers here for you. Most of the content is built out. You just add at the bottom right of all these, once you download them, you just add your own contact information, call to action, your own message, and use those as open house takeaways, use them as digital marketing material, whatever you want to do. There are more video tutorials and other things down here, but what I want to do now is show you some of those same examples we looked at live, and I've got a couple more new ones up here. So Brian, we looked at his website, okay? There's Brian, he's right below his bio. He's got the down payment assistance thing. Now you can see here, he's got that click here button kind of blinking at you. And he's had this up for a while. Down payment assistance is the first thing he's showing you on his website. So you click that, and for a moment, I want to show you how this search works. So we keep saying Down Payment Connect, and the buyer does a search and so forth. This is what they're doing. They click on that button, however you get them into this tool, whether it's a post on Facebook, an ad, an Instagram link, it's on your website, you emailed it to them. However you get them the link to your Down Payment Connect page, this is their experience. They're going to start their search. They can search either by street address and zip code, and we will map that property and find all the DPAs, or maybe more likely, they don't have a specific address in mind. They just know what county, or maybe they know what city they want to buy in. Let's just say Atlanta here. They know that they want to buy in Atlanta. And we know right off the bat, there are 14 programs. Now, most programs at least have a maximum purchase price. If we set Atlanta at $450,000, we're not going to have that many programs left. We've started to exceed the maximum purchase prices. At $300,000, we've got 13 programs left. Let's say $250, somewhere in here's another threshold, right? If we just take it out because it's not even required, we're at 14. So the buyer doesn't have to answer any other questions here, but if they do, we will refine their results. These programs often have income limits. So let's say they're a household of 3 and they make 97,000. Well, we still have 5 programs, but we exceeded the income limits for a lot of those. What if they make 65,000 and they're a household of 3? What if they're a household of 5 people? That can make a difference, right? So we can account for all of this if they want to enter that info, but it's not required. Now, what if let's say they currently own a home? Well, there are still programs out there because another common myth, these programs are not all for first-time home buyers. They are not all just for first-time home buyer. There are plenty of programs out there that current or repeat buyers, or current owners or repeat buyers can utilize, because not every program has a first-time home buyer requirement. Now, there are a few other scenarios where they may see more programs. Maybe they've served in the military. Click on that. That's 7 more programs, right? Or let's undo that. And maybe somebody in the house is an educator or in law enforcement or healthcare, and that may make the count go up as well. So once they're done, the buyer clicks on get details. They're not going to see, we haven't seen program names, right? We're going to see how many programs are out there, how many dollars I might get from among the best of those programs. And then we're going to fill out the contact form, and that's going to go to Brian because that was Brian's page. Nobody else gets the lead. Nobody else is notified. The data is not passed to anybody else. So the buyer or the consumer here is going to fill out the form. That's going to be delivered to Brian. It's going to tell Brian who they were, where they searched, what price they entered, and what programs they found. And Brian will get the details of those programs. The consumer will then get an email that gives them Brian's contact information and the list of the programs that came up in their search, but there are no links to anybody else, not the program provider, not another realtor, not a lender, just the names of the programs and your contact information, so they can and have to and are incentivized to reach out to you and continue that conversation. So that's how it works. That was an example from Brian's website. Here's Susan. I showed you that she had embedded this into her website. So I just wanted to pull that up real quick and kind of show you how that works. She just used an iframe. Now, you all might have your websites built on any number of different platforms, Wix, WordPress, and so on and so forth. But essentially, she just put an iframe on this page, and then inside that iframe, she lets people start their search. So whatever I do from here is going to go to Susan, start my location here. Let's say Cobb County, 9 programs. Want to get my details. There's the form, and it's all just happening right on her page, right? Now, we showed you Richmond Region Realty. This is up in Richmond, Virginia. We showed you this page in part because they built out a down payment assistance page, but they also had a nice, well-produced video here. And then down the page, there's actually a lot more to this. Now, look at this too. There's a way to get in touch, right? If you want to fill out the contact form and reach out to them, go for it. It's on a lot of their pages on their website. And many of you probably have the same kind of thing. But what about people that don't know they're ready for homeownership? For example, people that don't think they have enough saved, and so they don't reach out to you because they think they need 20% down, or they think they're going to have to save, for several more years before they can buy a home. Those are the people that need to know about down payment assistance. So down the page here, this team in Richmond talks about who qualifies. And guess what this graphic is? That's a link to Ronnie's Down Payment Connect page, right? So if I want to go ahead and start my search, I can do that here. But Ronnie goes on down this page and his team in Richmond to include some text links to Down Payment Connect. What are the criteria? How do family finances make a difference? What about being a first-time home buyer? Does my profession matter? There's another graphic link to Down Payment Connect. It has to be a primary residence. What about home price? Where are these programs available? And so on. So there's a lot of education happening here, and woven into that are opportunities to use Down Payment Connect. So that's why I wanted to show you the whole page here, because there's actually a lot more to it than just the fact that they even created a down payment assistance page under their guide to buying a home. And then also did a well-produced video here, but they've added all this content and woven in all these links to Down Payment Connect. Very similar. I showed you a screenshot of this earlier. This team in Seattle under Advice for Buyers has a down payment assistance page. As we scroll down, you're going to see that there's copy here, there's content that teaches buyers a little bit more about down payment assistance. And then they've got the form right here embedded into the page. See if I'm eligible. And this is in Seattle, so let's just plug that in real quick. And want to do my search in Seattle. Let's get my details and fill out my contact form. And as soon as I do, I'm off to the realtor. Now, a couple more things here, and then we'll wrap this up. Do you have a blog? Do you struggle for content? If you have a blog, you're always looking for content. Think about the frequency of your posting. If you could increase the frequency, might you gain the attention of more people or gain more traction with your blog? So one thing that you can talk about, one great topic that you can talk about on your blog is how to get down payment assistance help. This is a realtor in Florida. You can see some of our graphics. They've got a couple links here. The blog content is below. Down payment money is out there. Let's find it. What is down payment assistance? They've used a video of ours here. Feel free to do that too. And then they end it with a process. And we like this. Click the button below. Find out enter your info. Get your results. Let's talk about your programs. That's it. Then there's the link, right? That's a great blog post. It's a very interactive blog post. It's not just educational. It ends with a solution. It ends with a path to down payment help that's going to bring them right back to Tyler here on his website from his blog. All right, I said I'd show you a little bit more about what Marilyn's doing in Indianapolis. This is one of her landing pages. She asks people to enter their name and email before she opens up Down Payment Connect to them. That way, she has their contact information as they start the search, not just when they complete the search. So that's a clever idea. That works well for her. That's not required of Down Payment Connect, but if it works for you, wanted to show you that. If I enter that information here, click here to see if I qualify, then I will be taken to Marilyn's Down Payment Connect page. Works for her. Last thing I'll show you here is Facebook. Just another example of a super simple, super easy post. Does not have to be difficult or complicated. Shayna here is in Detroit, in Michigan. Read the post here. Down payment money is out there. Let's find it. Use my Down Payment Connect page to find programs that can help you save on your down payment or closing costs. And then her link and a graphic. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. We don't want it to be complicated. We're trying to solve for a complicated problem. So let's simplify the copy. Let's simplify the message and make it compelling and exciting for consumers to reach out. So let's pop back into wrap this up and get you some more resources and answer some questions. So I'm not going to rehash everything we've talked about, but start more conversations. Look at email, look at social media, look at your website, any digital campaign. What are you doing with drip marketing? What's your intake strategy and what content and instructions come out of that? Embed down payment assistance as a topic into that dialogue, into that marketing, and then use Down Payment Connect to your advantage to offer that sort of actionable path to help for renters and potential buyers. Leverage your experts, in particular, 3 of them. Your participating lenders, your lender partners. If you need help finding lender partners, then we can show you how to do that. But talk to your existing partners, ask your broker if they've got a recommendation, talk to the providers of the programs themselves, ask them who their best loan officers are. If you need a loan officer that works with these programs, look for the top producers. Those lenders are going to be your most critical partner because they're the ones that are going to know how to pre-qualify. They're going to know the logistics, the timelines, the expectations and requirements of the DPA programs that they offer. But the DPA providers themselves can help you, not just connect you to their lenders, but also maybe they have marketing content. Maybe they've got flyers for you. They can also help educate you about their program, as can our platform. You can highlight their programs in your marketing content. And lastly, if you get the chance, go to a homebuyer education class with one of your clients. First of all, they'd probably love it if you did that, but you'll also get to hear the message and the content of that class and absorb that or incorporate that into your own marketing. We encourage you to join the Down Payment Insiders Facebook group. Melinda, who's in the background here answering questions, she curates the content there, keeps the dialogue going. We post questions, get people reacting and thinking. This is a group of realtors and some loan officers too, all over the country that work with first-time home buyers, work with down payment assistance programs. They share best practices, marketing ideas, case studies, obstacles, how they overcame those challenges, and so on and so forth. Marketing successes, content that they use. So we encourage you to join that group, listen in, fly on the wall, absorb the message, or get engaged, get interactive, share your own stories and best practices, and help others learn as well. I'll leave you with a couple of quotes here. I won't read from these, but we saw some stuff from Raul on the bottom here earlier. He always knew there was a better way and wanted to help veterans, and he's done a bang-up job of it. Amber is in Florida. She started out helping her peers because her peers weren't being taught about down payment requirements. So she started talking about it, and she's grown her business by helping people solve for a problem nobody else wanted to bring up or address. Here are our MLS partners. All of that Down Payment Connect stuff that you just saw, you have for free. If you are a member of one of these MLSs, we have more coming, including in the next 2 weeks. There will be more MLS partners on this list. But if you see your MLS, you have Down Payment Connect for free. I showed you how to get to that link earlier. Go to your MLS dashboard, your product menu, and find the Down Payment Resource button, and your Down Payment Connect URL will be waiting for you there. If you are not a member of one of those MLSs, you can subscribe to Down Payment Connect. We encourage you to do so in order to expand your reach, bring some creativity and some problem solving to your marketing, especially when it comes to first-time home buyers. You can do that from downpaymentresource.com/DPC. Get your landing page, get it out in your marketing, start generating leads. And that landing page will allow consumers to match themselves to DPA programs available in your market, or if you're a loan officer, the DPA programs available in your market that your company participates in. So again, downpaymentresource.com/DPC. If you have further questions after our Q&A, which we're going to get into right now, then you can always reach out to us at info@downpaymentresource.com. And with that, Melinda, Fern, Veronica, what's going on in Q&A? Any trends, any questions being asked multiple times that we can address first?
Hey, Sean, it's Veronica. One question that is popping up a few times is how to connect with lenders that can help with these DPA programs, how to locate them.
Yeah, so a couple of ways. We'll do three real quick. Talk to your existing lender partners. Maybe the topic of down payment assistance just hasn't come up. Maybe they do offer programs and you never had such a client, or they never brought it up because there was no need. So talk to them first. You've got those relationships in place. Ask them if they participate in any down payment assistance programs. Not every lender does. Not every loan officer within a lender offers those programs or is aware of them. That doesn't mean that you can't access them. It just means you might need a different loan officer. I tell you what, if you're a loan officer on this webinar, put it in the chat. What's your recommendation? How would you recommend an agent find a loan officer that does these programs? How do you connect with realtors to let them know that you offer these programs? The other way is you can always go to downpaymentresource.com and do a search. And the first thing we'll show you about any program when you do a search there is who the participating lenders are. Lastly, I would say talk to your state housing finance agency and maybe any of the local program providers and ask them who their best loan officers are that send in a lot of business and send in good files and close on time, and learn who they get the best business from. And I bet those loan officers want your business too. So there's a few ways. If you're a member of one of our MLS partners, you can also click the down payment button from eligible listings in your MLS on agent or client reports. And again, we'll show you in the program details that you get there who the participating lenders are. And there are always links to the program providers list of lenders. What else? Veronica, any other trends?
There was one question in regards to, are there programs for VA loans? Are there programs specifically for police, firefighters, etc.? Those types of programs?
Yeah, there are some programs that are unique to people in certain professions or people that have served in the military, those with disabled household members. But it's also important to know that those programs that are strictly for those target audiences, those are great for those target audiences. Anyone who's an educator, police officer, a veteran, active duty, they can qualify and use just about any down payment assistance program. The distinguishing factor there is if you are in a certain profession or have served in the military, for example, there may be additional programs available only to you, but you still qualify for everything else. And the general public still has all those programs that they can use as well. Fern, Mel, what are you seeing? Anything you want to address?
Yeah, Sean, there are several good questions that came in via the chat. So the first one is, can a buyer purchase a multifamily property using a DPA?
In some markets, with some programs. So these programs are all for owner-occupied purchases. So you got to be buying your primary residence. That said, there are many markets and many programs across the country that will allow a buyer to purchase a 2 or maybe 3 or maybe 4 unit property. So that's the limit, right? Up to 4 units residential in some markets. But you do have to own or occupy one of those units. You will also likely have to take like landlord training, not just home buyer education, because they're giving you assistance to move into a multi-unit property that you're obviously going to cash flow and rent out. So you do have to live in one of the units as your primary residence in order to qualify in that scenario. But there are plenty of programs out there that will allow 2, 3, or even up to 4 unit properties.
Thanks, Sean. And then another question that has come up and that we know comes up during all of our webinars. And that question is, does using a DPA slow down the process? Using
a loan officer who knows what they're doing with the down payment assistance program you're using will not slow down the transaction. And if you're a loan officer, chime in, confirm that. Now, yes, there are some programs that may take a couple days longer. There may be a few extra steps, but generally speaking, especially with like a housing finance agency from the state, if you're working with a loan officer that knows the program, been doing them for a while, they know them well, they know how to do it. And that's the critical piece. That's why your most important partner here is your loan officer. So realtors, I'm talking to you, obviously, your most important partner in this process or with these clients and with these programs is going to be a loan officer who knows and understands the program, and in particular knows how to close on time because they understand the specific requirements, timelines, and so on and so forth. So no, it is not accurate to say that a down payment assistance program on its own is going to delay a transaction. Mel, anything you want to address?
Sorry, I'm just typing away over here. I did want to say, as always, a lot of people are interested in receiving the recording because it's been such good information. And we are recording this session, and we will be sending that out to everyone most likely tomorrow with some other follow-up material. So I did just want to mention that. And I also, Sean, you were talking about how to find loan officers with DPA, or the loan officers that do DPA, I'm sorry. And someone made a good comment in chat saying that they go to the DPA provider basically, which I think you discussed, but just as a testimonial that the providers will know who does a good job, who offers good programs, and then complements the DPA and supports the program. So
yeah, absolutely. That's a great place to start. Start with your existing partners and go to your state housing finance agency from there.
And then the last thing I'll say, I, again, wanted to answer a couple of these questions. I was in the middle of typing one, but I did put links to our Down Payment Insiders group, the Down Payment Connect page, if you guys want to find out more information. And then the email address that Sean has on the screen, I put all of that in chat. I know it's easier to click on links in chat. So if you guys wanted to find that information, you can find it there.
Okay. Veronica, Fern, I can see there have been tons of questions. There's a ton of activity in chat. Even still, we still have a large crowd. Anything that you guys want to address? Maybe one last question each, or one last comment that you saw, and then we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah, Sean, there was another question that we frequently receive, and that is, are manufactured homes and mobile homes allowed?
Mobile, no. Manufactured, and to distinguish, manufactured homes permanently affixed on a foundation are commonly allowed. It does depend on the market and the program. So not every program allows manufactured homes, but we're seeing a lot more of that, manufactured, modular, but they're permanently affixed. That's the difference. So, mobile homes, those are still not secured by mortgages generally, but manufactured homes, we're seeing a lot more of that allowed. And, to their credit, Fannie and Freddie have opened up mortgage products to enable manufactured homes. State housing agencies are doing a good job of kind of expanding the allowable inventory. So we expect that trend will continue towards more programs allowing manufactured homes.
And Sean, one of the questions that I've been receiving and responding to a few times now is, can you combine programs?
Yeah, good question. And we get that often. Yes, simply put. But of course, the devil's in the details. It depends on the programs, plural, because not every program can be combined with every other program. So there are some limitations in that regard. So a couple things about that. And I've seen other versions of this question. Can you combine, a veteran and an educator program, stuff like that? I mean, generally, yes, you can absolutely layer programs. We've seen and heard and spoken to realtors and loan officers that have layered 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6 different down payment assistance programs for one buyer. Now, is that the most common scenario? No. Is it always necessary? No. Is it possible? Yes, in some circumstances. You need to make sure that you're working with a loan officer that offers, all of or both of or however many of the programs that you intend to use. The buyer essentially is going to have to qualify for the most restrictive requirements among those DPAs, and the DPAs have to be combinable together. There are certain scenarios where you can't combine DPAs, or they won't allow, one won't allow them their own program to be combined with a certain type of other. But yes, it's possible. I would point you to your loan officer, a loan officer that works with these programs in order to understand how and when that's possible and with which programs. So Mel, anything you want to wrap us up with? One last question.
Sean, I did want to mention, I forgot earlier, we had someone post their Down Payment Connect link during the webinar and got 2 hits during the webinar.
That is excellent. It's that easy, guys. We do this all the time. We haven't done so many live events in the last 18 months, but when we talk about Down Payment Connect Live, we'll often tell people, hey, get your link, post it now as we start this session or this webinar. And sometimes we'll make it a competition and even have a giveaway. Whoever gets the most likes or the most leads. So that's great. Whoever that was, we'd love to follow up with you and have a chat about what content did you use? Did you even use any content, or did you just put it out there? So that's awesome. And for everybody, that's how simple, that's how compelling it can be. I mean, yes, we don't always get asked about, hey, is there down payment help out there? But that's because the buyer doesn't know. The potential buyer doesn't know that it's out there. And they may not be reaching out to you and reacting to you because they don't think they can get over the down payment hurdle. So if we put that message out there, we're putting a message out there, we're putting an answer out there to a question the buyer doesn't know to ask. And then they learn that, and suddenly you look like an absolute expert and a rock star because you've got a solution to a problem that they're sitting there thinking is going to prevent them from buying a home. So that's awesome. I would love to talk to whoever it was that did that. Congrats and thank you. So with that, we've got a lot of activity still in the chat here, guys. We want to be mindful of everyone's time. We've already gone over. We will send out the recording. We'll send out some additional resources for you. We appreciate everyone's time. Our contact info is on the screen here. If you need anything else, info@downpaymentresource.com. If you do not already have Down Payment Connect through your MLS, then we encourage you to go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC. With that, thanks for joining. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.